Welcome to the Bliss Builders podcast, a podcast about mental health
and personal growth
with Kristina von der Heid
and Sandra Diebel.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Bliss Builders podcast. We are here, as usual, with you, Kristina.
Hello.
And myself, Sandra. And today we wanted to talk about gratitude. It was not a nice pronunciation, but you know what I mean. And let's kind of start right into the topic. So, Kristina, can you tell us when was the first time you used gratitude as a tool?
Pretty much when I was a teenager, I think. It started by, I'm not sure if I've read a book or saw a post online, but it talked about how gratitude is a great tool to A, get yourself in a better feeling state, and B, help you to basically program your subconscious mind to focus more on things to be grateful for, which then uplifts your mood. And one of the first tools I found was a gratitude diary or gratitude journal, in which you would then write daily what you're grateful for, to focus and practice and train your brain to focus more on that. And I remember I think I was 19, and I was in Cape Town at the time, and I was traveling beautiful landscapes, but I was feeling down because I didn't have certain parts of my life figured out. And instead of enjoying the beautiful places I was in, I was sitting at the beach in the most beautiful landscape, and I was just not feeling good.
Aww.
And I was feeling kind of like, sad, I guess, or like slightly depressed. And I was like, this is so weird. And the good thing is, every time I'm in a low phase, I start looking again at all the tools and everything I've already found, or new tools to use. And that's when I found the gratitude journal. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to focus more on that. I'm going to practice that. And it did help very quickly. And I started writing a gratitude journal, which I did not keep up all the time. So usually it goes like that. Every time I get into like a low state, I start doing all those things again. And once I'm kind of like happy, it comes natural, until I kind of like tend to forget, and then I slip down into a down phase again. And I'm still hoping that at some point I will make this a continuous practice that I don't forget about. But the thing is, I've also, like, at that time when I was in Cape Town, also got myself a gratitude app to like have reminders on your phone, and to remind yourself to daily like write entrances into that digital journal of gratitude. But like pretty much all the reminders I have on my phone for multiple things, I at some point just started ignoring it.
That's the thing. If you get too many notifications at some point, you just delete them all.
It's not even that I delete them. I just literally don't perceive them anymore. They're right in my face, and if I've seen them too much, if they're not new anymore, it always works for a couple of days, and then my brain gets used to them and just starts ignoring them.
But this is such a nice methodology of actually what is the gratitude about, because we are so used to the things we are surrounded with, the nice things, the beautiful things, that we start to ignore them actually.
Exactly.
So it is the practice in the practice somehow. So I mean, that's what this gratitude exercises are for, that you are getting aware and conscious again about the beauty and the great things you are surrounded with.
Exactly. And I feel like, especially like the gratitude journal at that time, and even the app for the short time that it was working for me, helped me to remind myself of all the great things that I already had. Because the thing is, once you start listing all the things that you feel grateful about, and that also that you can be grateful for having, you're reminded of all the things you already have, of like the abundance you have, the wealth you have, the friends you have, the love you have. But a lot of the times especially when I get into low phases, I forget it. So it's basically like all the things that exist that are wonderful and that I'm grateful to have, they just slip my mind, and my mind then just focuses on the things that I don't have, the things that I'm lacking. And as soon as I get into that, I usually get into a low mood. So I find gratitude is a very helpful practice to remind yourself of what you have. And another thing that I found recently was basically a list of 7 things to be grateful for. Because a lot of times like writing, just like writing daily 10 things you're grateful for is also very helpful. But I thought this like 7-step process is very helpful because it gives you a lot of ideas at which things to look for.
A bit of a manual.
Yeah, at what to look at that you can be grateful for.
And that sounds beautiful, especially in the beginning when you start with those tools or practices. It's a bit overwhelming. It's like, what should I write down? And or you don't want maybe to write down what everyone else is, what the examples are. So this gives you a really good guideline that you have a little bit of support, some structure.
Yeah, especially when you're in a low mood, you've already forgotten all the things that you can be grateful for. So it is a great way to remind you the different areas and things that you can be grateful for. And then you can go through each of the areas and be like, yeah, here's something I can be grateful for. So I'm gonna now name all of them. So the first thing you can be grateful for, or you can write things down about that you are grateful for, is what you have, what you already have. So look at the things in your life that you already have that you can be grateful for. And that's more like about the material things we have. And it's like, or the things that we perceive. So it's basically going around the room and perceiving all the things that you can be grateful for and just writing them down.
So from the apartment I'm in, for example, that maybe you have your favorite trouser or a dress that makes you beautiful, or a shirt that fits you and your muscles or whatever.
Yeah, or basic things like having a phone.
A nice cup.
Yeah, having a phone, having a laptop, having all those things to be able to even do this. Having having a roof over your head, having food, things like that. The next step is things you can be grateful for about yourself and who you are. So then you can list things both physical, as in like I have legs, I have arms, I have a beating heart, I have working lungs, and focus on the things that are, that you're grateful for having. Like,
so that can be the basic ones, or I love my eyelashes, for example, or that,
I love that I have a pretty face, and you can go on, and then you can also go deeper into, I love that I'm creative. I'm grateful for that I have a optimistic mindset, and go into those details.
Personality.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that I don't know. I'm curious. And you can just list all the things about who you are. Then the third one is you can be grateful for, or what you can be grateful for in regards to the people you have in your life. So all the people around you that love you, that you appreciate, that you're just grateful for that they're there. So I'm grateful for you, Sandra. I'm grateful that I have a beautiful sister with which I have a great relationship with. I'm grateful that I still have both my parents. I'm grateful for my grandparents. I'm grateful for the love I have in my life. I'm grateful. And then you can go through all the people that you have in your life that you appreciate and that you're grateful for having.
What can be the close circle, or even, let's say, your barista at your everyday coffee shop, for example.
Yeah.
Or the one workmate you maybe don't talk that much to, but every time you see each other, you have some fun. So this can be also things we really forget about.
Yeah, or also the people that inspire us that we don't even know personally. Like,
that is true.
Like
role models.
The podcasts we listen to that we like are inspired by, the artists we are inspired by, the musicians that we listen to their music pretty much on a daily basis that lifts us up and we couldn't live. We could literally not listen to that beautiful music if they wouldn't exist. So
That
I
is
think that's a
true.
really
Wow,
nice
yeah.
way to expand the people in our lives, because even though we don't know them personally, they still affect us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And well, uplift our lives. So yeah, so people can be grateful for. Then the next point would be point number 4, the lessons we've learned that we can be grateful for. So this is can be quite a tricky one because you have to kind of like be sure that it's a lesson you've already learned. But I would not get stuck on that too much.
Don't judge yourself too hard.
Yeah, and just go through like what you feel like that you've learned or that you at least have become aware of. I think becoming aware of certain habits, certain patterns in your life, and certain lessons that you might even be still in the process of learning is already a great way to be grateful for. For example, the lessons I've learned is that and that I'm still practicing is to, well, practice gratitude on a daily basis and continuously actually try to stay on track and not stop doing it, no matter what comes and no matter how happy I might be. Just keep on being in gratitude so it doesn't slip. But it's also human. Another thing, a great lesson that I'm really grateful for that I've learned is self-love and self-acceptance and being kind to yourself and fostering that kind inner voice that if you slip, which I do a lot, and if you make mistakes, which I think everyone does, and if you don't do the things that you know would be good for doing, that you then are kind to yourself, and that if you go, because like the thing is, as I mentioned in other episodes, we're never afraid of the things happening. We're always afraid of our own emotions about the things happening. And a lot of the times we're not feeling fear or are overwhelmed by the circumstances necessarily, but mostly by our own emotions. And once you learn to be kind to yourself while you experience those emotions, you actually don't fear them as much, and therefore you are also more relaxed in all sorts of situations. But that's a practice itself. But that is something that I'm really, really grateful for, that I'm in the awareness and then I am practicing it. So yeah, that was the next point. The next one after this is be grateful for what has happened. So what you, like the things we can list, the things that we're grateful for that have happened already. Beautiful things like being able to travel the world, being able to travel to certain countries, our first love that we experienced, getting a sister when you were a kid, getting your first toy, things like, I don't know, life events.
Coincidences when you meet
Yeah,
a special person, for example, or when you were able to create something or achieve
achieve something. Yeah, I'm super grateful that I've finally managed to not only write but also publish a book, which is called When the Bookshelf is Mocking You, and it's available on Amazon. Just to drop that in there. But I'm so grateful that I kind of like finally got that done and that it's out there in the world. So all the things that have happened for you. And then the next one is being grateful for the things that have not happened. Because how often did we worry about things and they did not actually happen? And how grateful can we be that certain things did not happen?
How close you are to a car accident, or that you drop something,
Yeah.
or that the relationship still didn't broke up because of a stupid fight or whatever.
Yeah. So being grateful about things that did not happen. Also, for example, if you look back at your relationships, how grateful can you be about certain relationships actually not working out? And yeah,
there is a reason for everything.
No, because like a lot of times when enough time has passed and you look back, you're kind of like grateful that it did not work out, because your life would look very different. Or the jobs that you didn't get and that put your whole life on a different trajectory. So yeah, and then The next point can be being grateful. And I think it's also the last point, being grateful for the things that haven't happened yet. Because if you've done the 6 steps before that, and you are really in this practice, and depending on how much time you gave yourself to do so, I would always suggest to just set a time frame, because otherwise you can get carried away and do it for hours, which is also fine if you have the time. But otherwise, especially when you're trying to do it daily, make it a 5-minute task.
Or 1 point of each step, for example.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Make it as small as possible, because that helps it, like, as I said, baby steps, baby
Keep
steps.
the practice, yeah.
Yes, that helps it. And then on days where you feel like, oh, I can do more, do more. And on days where you don't have much time, keep it to like a short 5-minute practice, or even 1-minute practice. And then, just write 1 point, as Sandra said, to each thing, and give yourself like this little boost of gratitude. So I'm going to repeat the 7 steps again.
Can you give us an example for number 7, please?
For the things that haven't happened yet. Yeah. For example, I'm really grateful that I have 10 grand in passive income. That I don't have to
come up over and over again. So if someone has an opportunity for Kristina to get this passive income, please message us.
And I know that there's plenty of opportunities, which is also a great thing to do. Is write down all the weird ways that one can receive money.
Oh, I remember that. That was very funny, as we were sitting outside, and she was telling me all the ways she could get to this money, or some financial support. Actually, yeah, they're receiving money, and then we were brainstorming on even more ideas.
Yeah, because the thing is, I personally would ideally, as I said, like have 10 grand in passive income that I don't have to do anything for. And with don't have to do anything for, I mean anything that feels like effort. So ideally, I would get 10 grand in passive income that feels absolutely effortless, through something that gives me more energy, that's fun, that's enjoyable, and that doesn't feel like work at all. And the last time, which we also discussed in other podcast episodes, I manifested, let's say, money and kind of like a passive income. I got the money for literally just having conversations via text. And I got like a weekly amount of money for that, which was awesome.
So impressive.
Yeah. And that is something I'm grateful for, that I had that experience. And that is something that I can be grateful for that I don't have yet. So being grateful for this reoccurring dream of having 10 grand in passive income. And there's so many ways of how that could come to pass, from, I don't know, getting a husband that provides for me, to winning the lottery, which I've entered into a lottery that would pay you a monthly salary instead of just giving you one big amount of money at once. Well, also just getting a really big amount of money at once, like a couple million, that you can then invest into things that give you dividends, and then therefore create passive income. Then things I'm already on, like investing in general. So
the casino. We are still waiting for the casino too.
slowly building that income. Other things that I don't have yet that I can be grateful for is my imaginary husband. That I can be grateful for, and then literally list everything that you would wish for and be grateful for, that you have that amazing relationship, that you have amazing kids, that you have amazing house, and be grateful for all the things that you don't have yet, maybe. So think about whatever dream you might have and be grateful for that dream, and that dream coming to you, and that dream, and like get into the feeling of having, which is also, which we talked about. Get
yourself into the feeling of it. I remember that when I did my vision board, and it's one thing if you list it down, if you really feel it, and if you really get into it, that's the difference, and it puts you into such a mood.
Yeah, it does. I mean, just having this conversation right now is already like putting my energy out, because it reminds me of all the things like, oh yeah, that is awesome. Because the thing is, you literally, like, if you think about things that you don't have yet, but you feel gratitude and imagine as if you already had it in the moment, how you would feel. I mean, even like it doesn't matter what you want, because even then your emotions will go up and down and you will not have this constant boost of, oh, I'm happy all the time. So a lot of times when you receive something that you wished for a long time, that initial happiness boost fades away very quickly, which is also another thing why gratitude is so great, because it keeps reliving that happiness and an excitement and the gratitude for what you have, and reminds you, oh yeah, I've manifested that, or oh yeah, that came into my experience. So you can say manifesting, because we had like another episode about that, or programming your subconscious mind to focus on more things to be grateful for and to practice that emotion. So, well, as to basically just feel better. So I'm gonna
Summarize, yes,
I'm
please.
summarizing, and I'm gonna count all the 7 steps. So step 1, being grateful for what you already have. Being grateful for who you are. That's step number 2. Step number 3, being grateful for the lessons you've learned. Step number 4, being grateful for the people you have in your life. Step number 5, being grateful for the things that have happened in your life. Number 6, being grateful for the things that have not happened yet in your life. And number 7,
Things that... No, wait.
now I've missed a point.
No, the things that have happened, the things that have not happened, and number 7 is the things that have not happened yet, like the future.
Oh yeah, the things that have not happened, as in a sense, like you're grateful for. Yeah.
You see, it's life, it's realistic, it's authentic.
Yes. Okay, so we have the 7 steps. Yeah. But you told me earlier that you also wrote a gratitude journal.
I've started with it and tried it a couple of times, and I can't tell you how many pieces of papers, notebooks, etc. I have where I started those kind of things, and I think, I don't know, 5 pages or something I filled out, and then it's empty. So many. For me, it's very hard to keep consistent, and then with that, it somehow also some kind of guilt comes up, because you think, I know what to do, or this would help, etc. Just keep going with that, and then you think, I haven't done it, and you forget it, and you are in this bloody loop. So I'm a very visual person. I think we already figured it out. And for me, being creative is always a big thing, and presented nicely. So I also love order and organize stuff. So I love lists to fill out or to tick off or those things. But that's what I've had before, actually, and I was not really able to keep going with that. So I've changed it a little bit. And since I'm traveling, well, I left Austria, I have this, that's my journal with me. What's more,
Maybe show it in the camera.
yeah. It's more a collage, actually, with half about the traveling and half about myself, with like all the learnings, etc. But in a bit more of a creative way than just lists. So I was more satisfied with that, and that's where I've started to do that one. We can show it a little bit later or separately also in the camera on social media. So I've created a nice page where I've tried to keep doing it every day, but then I was also acknowledging that I was still not able to keep up with that, but that's fine. And I was okay with that at some point. And I just come back to this page when I feel like it, and when I have this deep gratitude feeling in me, actually. And then it's sometimes more than one, you know? And then there are maybe 2 weeks I don't write down anything, and then there is a day where I write down 10 things at once. But that's actually a very nice page. I also like to get back sometimes, so I have it all in once. It looks pretty, so my visual heart is also fulfilled. And yeah, so that was actually my way I've done it, and it helped me quite a bit. So maybe I'm thinking to maybe create some of those pages for you guys that you can just print it out and have your own ones. We're gonna do that and link
And
this in
also
our
like
accounts.
a cheat sheet
Yeah,
with the
for the
7
7
steps of
steps.
gratitude, that you have like something that you can print out and literally just fill out by yourself. Or print it out into a piece of paper, laminate it, and then use one of those whiteboard
Ooh,
markers
that's a
and
nice idea.
write it on a, like, do it maybe with your family, put it on the fridge, write things down that you're grateful for, and then every day you can just wipe them away and write the next things down.
Oh, that reminds me of a little ritual you've created actually here in our apartment. We're first three living together, where we did it for quite a long time.
Well, while I was here, because I was gone for a month now.
Yeah. Thanks for leaving.
And now I'm back. Back in Brisbane.
This is why there were a few episodes where we were in contact digitally. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, the ritual was, I think, name 3 things you are grateful for.
3 things you're excited about.
Exactly.
And 3 things you're manifesting.
Yeah.
Which was basically, to remind yourself to share gratitude, to share appreciation, not only for like what's going on in life, but like a lot of times it was also a way of how we would share gratitude with each other and being grateful for what another person has done for us or what's there, what we're excited about, either together or separately. And I felt like it was a great way to connect, but also to remind ourselves. And, and I feel like that is also a great point of something that you can do and that I might implement again, which is basically get yourself a gratitude buddy. Like, if you,
it's a very good advice. I love it.
If you like, go to your best friend or to your siblings or whoever is a like trusted person that is open to such a thing, and get yourself kind of like an accountability buddy. So every day you could, for example, text each other what you're grateful for, send each other voice messages what you're grateful for, send each other videos of what you're grateful for, or literally just talk to each other.
Implement it at dinner time, for example. We do it every day at dinner time. That was very nice. So we have a topic to talk about, and maybe not only what is on television or what
we complain about.
Exactly, what was shitty at work, because these are our usual topics. But shift actually the thinking a little bit from complaining to gratitude. What helps you to build up the mood. And for me personally, that was quite often, even when sometimes it took a while until something comes to your mind, but we managed it every time, and every one of us. And it was also so interesting to hear the other ones. And someone said, that's actually, that's very nice, and that's beautiful, and it warms my heart.
Yeah. I feel like, especially when you do it with other people, it can be this upward spiral, because you say something that you're grateful for, and then the other person is reminded, oh yeah, wait a minute, I'm also really grateful for that thing. And then also, if you're grateful for your friend and that you can do that with them, and you tell them that you're grateful for that you have them in your life, that in exchange gives them a really good feeling, then they say something that gives you a good feeling. So it's kind of like both lifting each other up higher and higher in good positive feelings. And also to remind yourself, oh yeah, wait a minute, we have a really good relationship that we can be grateful for. Oh yeah, like this is something we can be grateful for. So it's a really nice practice, and that's why I love gratitude, and which is why I thought we should definitely do an episode about it. Because even if you have heard it a million times in different podcasts, I think the same way I listen to podcasts and YouTube and and things over and over again and read the same books over and over again because I need a regular reminder of those kind of things.
Yeah.
I want this episode to also be a reminder for you guys. So you're like, oh yeah, wait a minute, gratitude. Oh, I already know this. Yeah, you're so right. Like, let's get back into it. Let's
just
get
what
back
I'm
into
right.
Yeah, no, like let's get back into it. I think in general, knowledge is never really new. It's always existed. It's always out there somewhere. There's rarely
but also
really something
the
new.
ways to practice or to get into it, like the 7 steps. I haven't heard about that before, but it's great because it gives you a tool in your hand, not like a manual and a guidance, and that's quite often what we would need, at least to start. If you are more into practice, everything where we have practice in, it's easy, but when you start, it's a bit more difficult. So that's actually a great way to start with.
Especially because a lot of times when you start, you're emotionally very far away from feeling grateful.
That is true. But that can be actually also a very good tip, that you really start those things not when you are in a bad mood, but when you are actually in the grateful mood. So that is maybe something I was not able to point out that much. I didn't wrote this when I was in a low mood or when I was looking for something to lift me up. It was the opposite. Every time I felt this gratitude or I was grateful, I was aware of, then I wrote it down. And then I have it in front of me to look at it again, actually, when I'm in the low state. So this might be also quite helpful in the beginning or at all, to really be conscious about this gratitude. But yeah, was a
What are you feeling grateful for in the moment?
exactly. So, for example, I've experienced that on a farm in New Zealand very intensely, actually, where it was the opposite way for me. So, not thinking about what you're grateful for and then get to the acknowledgement and the feeling, but it was actually the other way around, where I felt this feeling first. I was not even sure what this feeling is. I know, it felt like my heart is so warm and it was close to exploding. And I was thinking, what is it actually? And it took me a little bit to figure out that it is this gratitude, this pure, deep gratitude for where I am, what it is actually, that made me smile, that made me dancing in the paddock by myself, just surrounded with cows and 2 dogs, nothing else around. But I was in this farm, 500 acres and beautiful hilly land. Most of the time, beautiful weather, sunshine. You had this little fog in the morning, and we had this more or less off-road golf cart. It was so fun to drive because it has a four-wheel drive, so you can drive through the paddocks. And this was so fun. And they had a few dogs that were actually the guard dogs also for the cows, because it was a dairy farm. But 2 of them, they were so fucking cute. They were actually jumping on the mill every time I was starting to go to the paddock. And one of the dogs she was really seeking for love. You can see that as she was hitting my arms and wanted to get pet and laid her paws on my lap, for example, while I was driving. It was actually quite hard to drive sometimes because I had the dog more or less on my lap. But yeah, they both wanted to be with me. You can really feel that. And it was just beautiful to be in this paddock by myself. I actually also had some music with me that I really like, and these dogs playing and actually listening to me, very, very good. So as they didn't went that far, but as soon as I just said, hey, they were literally here. So very well trained. And yeah, I was there on the countryside with not much. The next supermarket was 30 minutes by car away, see, but it was so beautiful and calm there, and it made it possible for me to connect with myself actually that much. And yeah, I was literally standing there on this little cart with the loading area in the back, uh, starting to cry and dancing at the same time because it was just so beautiful. And I felt this deep love in me, um, where I then figured out that it is this gratitude actually. And it also made me feel that I want to share that. So this deep feeling of acknowledgement to others and share that with others came up into me. And that's when I at one point did a lot of my diary stuff. So like expressing that in a bit of creativity here. But that was also a time where I texted a lot of people and where I random out of nothing. So we were not really in a conversation at the moment. But when I was thinking about special people or what conversations they've done to me or how they affected me positively, actually, and where, yeah, wrote very long messages to them and expressed all that because, yeah, I was so filled with love that I really wanted to give that away and share that. And yeah, it was just such a beautiful feeling. And that's probably the situations I've experienced gratitude the most in my life.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Also, it was very interesting as I at one point started to dig a little bit deeper into it and asking myself the question, what is it exactly that makes me feel like that? Where I came to the result of some, maybe not values, but things that are actually important or affect myself and my mood shapes, as for example the landscape. So if this was all flat, it would have been a different scenery. But with the hills and with the sun and everything green, and it feels full with life, everything green. That was something, for example. Then the type of music I had on. If there is no music, or if it's, I don't know, let's say hardcore heavy metal instead of the soft folk I had on, or this romantic country music sometimes, it gives the situation also a completely different feeling. Also the dogs. I was not able to take the dogs with me all the time because sometimes they had to work to get the cars together, so I couldn't take them, and it was a different feeling. But it was so beautiful for me to see, especially these two dogs that followed me, that were cute playing together, and were actually seeking my love as well, and that I pet them and that I cuddle them. So also this gave me a very good feeling where I also acknowledged that, okay, if the dogs would not be here, if there would be just one dog, then one dog can't play that cute with itself. If the dog would not listen to me or be more rude or don't want to be with me,
Yeah.
also affects me. So I've started to really look into it, and these little nuances where I say, okay, you're still in nature, you have some music, you are with animals. Okay, that would be, and like the same things that can turn out completely differently, and that makes the difference. And that was also probably one of the situations where my boyfriend says I'm Goldilocks. maybe that's a good description. But that is this Goldilocksness for me. Nature, music, animals, but it can be completely different, and it makes a difference in me. It makes a difference in my feelings. So yes, I care. I care if it is this or that.
Yeah.
And I still will not step back from that. I actually would like to, point a little bit more about that people are, and if it doesn't matter to you, that's absolutely fine. But at least being aware of, does it matter to you?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make a difference? And if it makes a difference, and if there are certain things that you can change that makes you more happier, make you feel more comfortable, hell, why not?
Yeah. Being in nature by yourself is also something that I immensely appreciate. And in the last month, I've been in nature by myself a lot. And I was staying on the countryside, 4 hours away from Perth, in a place called Bridgetown. And I enjoyed it tremendously. I enjoyed being by myself and being in nature, not necessarily with animals. I definitely prefer to just be by myself. There was a dog, and that dog needed attention a lot. And
that put your mind in.
yeah, here and there I would give it, but like a lot of times I just wanted to be by myself and enjoy nature without having to pet anything. Or also like without having to put my food away and hold it up, because the dog would kind of like try to sneak some of the bacon or something. So yeah, but I also noticed, like through this conversation, that I tend to write gratitude lists a lot of times when I'm feeling low, because when I'm really grateful, I'm already grateful, I'm already feeling it. But especially when I'm in a low mood, I feel like gratitude and writing down gratitude, if I get a reminder, if something reminds me of doing that, it helps me so much to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've also noticed is that you sent those really long text messages, and that's another thing. That's also a thing that I found quite early and have completely forgotten about, which is gratitude letters. I read a study about.
That's a beautiful title.
Yeah, I found a study about in a book about happiness, basically, and what they did is they took, I think, depressed people, and they gave them a task of writing gratitude letters, I think every day for a week. And then they would put one group who doesn't do that and one group who does write gratitude letters to the people they know or things they know. And then they would measure their happiness afterwards. And well, as kind of like expected, the people who wrote the gratitude letters felt so much better. And I remember when I read that, I think it must have been, yeah, I can't really say when it was. It might have been in my teenage years. It might have been later as well. I wrote gratitude letters. I wrote gratitude letters to my parents, to my sister, to my grandparents, both physically and digitally, depending on who I can reach them the best.
Yeah.
And I think that is also like a really great tool, and not only brings it like it will for sure bring you joy to write a gratitude letter to a person you love, but it will bring them joy too, and the knowledge that it will make their heart warm will in turn make you happier as well. So it's kind of like a win-win situation, because not only do you get a good feeling by writing it, because you don't even have to send it, just by writing a gratitude letter to someone you already feel much better, so you don't even have to send it. But if you send it and if they receive it, it will just double the effect. So I think it's a beautiful tool to do that.
Plus, another effect that comes into my mind at the moment, so you feel better about writing it, about appreciating the other person for it. Then when you send it or hand it over, the other person will most likely really appreciate those words as well. Then you know that you've actually lightened up their day,
Yeah.
or even their week or whatever. So knowing about that puts you also into a better state. And what another little thing is that you actually start most likely like a feedback loop, more or less, or a gratitude loop, because what will in 99% occur is that this person is very grateful and express that probably, and writes you something back. So and there might be some time in between. So let's say you send this, and especially here we have this massive time difference between home and here. So when I was in New Zealand, it was 10 or 12 hours at some stage. So when I write this, everyone is sleeping probably. So I get a boost out of writing it and sending it, and knowing, they will wake up to that, and they will read that, and that is beautiful. And then you keep on going with your day, and a few hours later or the next day or whatever, you will probably receive another beautiful message from this person that acknowledged what you've wrote to them and maybe sent you something nice back.
Yeah.
So you have a double, triple effect of that.
I think it's, well, as I said, like, I think it's a really, really great tool because it creates, as I said before, like, if you do practice gratitude with people, it will just literally create that upward spiral. And how great is it that you can literally send that feeling in a letter, like that gratitude you're feeling in a letter to another person, and you know that they will feel grateful too. They might just feel grateful about what you said. They might just be grateful that you said it. They might just be grateful for having you in general, but they will feel gratitude in some way or form, very likely. Another great idea in that sense is to not only write gratitude letters to the people in your life, like your family and close friends, but also to expand it and, I don't know, maybe give your bus driver a gratitude letter. Maybe you give your barista of the cafe that you go to every day a gratitude letter. Leave a gratitude letter in the trash thing, so the person who empties your trash will get a gratitude letter. Leave a gratitude letter for the postman. So there's so many things,
surprises,
so many things where you can voice gratitude. And I find letters a great way, because words, like, if you're told words, I mean, a lot of us like to say thank you, but it has become a little bit meaningless. It's more like a form of being polite, and it's not an actual heartfelt thank you anymore. And also, even if you say a lot of words to someone, it does make their day, but soon they will forget. And I feel like gratitude letters, as soon as it's written down, it carries a different weight, because people can could hang it up, frame it, and look at it again and again over years. Like my mom, who keeps a lot of the letters, or my grandmother.
Beautiful.
So, of course, that's not to say to expect any of that, but I feel like that's why gratitude letters is such a great way, especially if you actually handwrite it or write it as an actual piece of paper. Because the thing is, digitally, stuff also disappears. To be fair, also handwritten letters can disappear, but it's a physical thing. And just having it and being able to reread the feelings that you felt at the time, or that someone else felt about you at the time, is just an amazing tool. And like, that's why I wanted to do this episode, because now just talking about it, my brain is getting more and more ideas. Oh yeah, let's write gratitude letters. So another thing that I used to do with a friend of mine is write little positive gratitude notes and drop them in our neighbors' post boxes.
I
did the same. And just literally share some joy with your neighborhood, and just go around and drop little love notes and gratitude notes.
Motivation notes, or have a great life.
Another thing that I did in certain phases of my life is get like chalk, spray paint. So it's like the chalk that you write on the street with, but it's spray paint. So you can make stencils about "I'm grateful to be here," and then put them in beautiful spots all over your city. The rain will wash them away, so there is no damage done. but then people can use it as a photo spot and be like, I'm grateful to be here. Or just questions. So I also walked around and like wrote questions like, what are you grateful for right now? And give other people more reminders and more inspiration, and just like doing things not only for yourself but for others in the sense of gratitude brings you more gratitude and literally spreads the love around.
We have chalk paint.
We have chalk paint. Yes, we do. We have chalk.
It's in the middle of the day.
Yeah, so I think we know what we're going to do later on.
I'm excited.
And another thing you can do is create a 30-day challenge for yourself, or a 7-day challenge for yourself. A 7-day gratitude challenge where you pick any of the many tools and ideas that we've just mentioned in our podcast episode and practice one every day. Pick one, whatever comes easiest to you, whatever you have time for, and just see how your life changes and how your emotional state and your happiness levels change over just the course of a week.
And your surrounding, how do people even react to you?
Or just make an open challenge, like how long can you last? I think a lot of times when you have those 30-day challenges, you do something for 30 days, if you can even achieve the 30 days, because a lot of times my consistency ends after a week. But do something that feels doable for you, or make it open-ended, and see how long can I last.
And actually challenge yourself. So let's say the first time you were able to do it for 6 days, and you think, okay, my challenge for the next time is to
make it 7 days.
Yeah, to make it at least longer.
Yeah,
and just challenge yourself.
Exactly, and just see how long. Because a lot of times we tend, I don't know, definitely myself, but like a lot of people, from what I've perceived, is we do those short-term challenges, and then when we don't achieve them, or when we get off track, or for example, then we just let it be. Then we're kind of like ashamed or feel guilty about not having achieved the whole challenge. And instead of just being like getting right back in and be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do it longer next time. That's like,
I love
you know,
yeah.
Or literally just making it open-ended, and being like, okay, how long can I last? And then when you get off track, be like, okay, can I last longer the next time? Can I last longer the next time? And just make it an ongoing challenge to see how long you can last on a streak. So I used to have the Duolingo app, and I wanted to learn Spanish. And what kept me on this app, although it was not really teaching me much, I can't speak Spanish,
not a good
but it was
for this app.
No, but like it was a streak, the streak function, because it was kind of like how many days in a row can you do, and you would get like a streak. And if you missed it for 2 days, you would lose the whole streak, and you had to start again. And my longest streak was because if you just miss 1 day, it's okay, then you can just continue. But if you miss 2 days, the streak is gone.
Okay.
My longest streak was 400 something days.
What the?
And it proved to me that if I have enough motivation for whatever reason, and I ignore the days that I've missed, because I have missed days, but as long as it's just 1 day and I get back the next day, the streak was continuing. And that kept me motivated. And that was the longest time ever I've been disciplined enough to do something daily. And I did it for like over a year.
Can I do a shout out for that for the Bliss Builders?
and the thing is, I can still not speak Spanish. And I don't remember shit from it either. I literally was just really, really good. Like the thing is, the exercises were really easy, so it kind of was easy to literally do it within 2 minutes. So it's easy to keep the streak. And I feel like, in a way, even though I don't really feel like I've benefited much from it, which is also the reason why I then after a year was like, you know what, I think I'm going to quit that. Because I was also paying for it. But if you like do that with gratitude, where you're kind of like, okay, let's see how long. I wonder if there's actually like I'm sure I know
another lesson out of it actually.
Yeah, but it was the best. Like it was for me, it was not about Spanish as much, but for me, it was more about like realizing, oh, I can be disciplined if I have the right amount, tools, baby steps, all of that, like a combination of all of those things. And the idea is just sad. Is like, I wonder if I know that there's a shit ton of gratitude apps out there, but I wonder if there's like an app for habits that is just giving you a streak.
I'm pretty sure there is.
So it doesn't matter what you're doing, but it just gives you a kind of like, okay, if you've done it today, you get a
habit tracker.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of times those things. Yeah, the streak thing was really good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
right,
and it gives you a little bit of the game character as well. It is so great. Yeah,
it gives you a little bit of the game character. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to check our microphones because we tend to talk a lot and long. And the last time the microphones
died.
Yeah. We were still talking.
Okay. It gives you a game character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, it does. All right.
Can I? Yeah. Before we summarize, can I just tell you and our listeners a last story, because it reminded me of that, and I would really like to share it. As it shows what you can actually move also with these gratitude letters, for example, as you have no idea in what state or what stage the other person is you're writing to at the moment or talking to. Is I think, I can't remember where it was exactly, maybe it was on the farm, where it came to my mind that, okay, I wrote my parents and some friends already, okay, fine, but somehow it came to my mind how much an ex-work colleague actually affected me in my life, and what a great role model she was also for me, and that there were a lot of things I admired of her and her attitude and how she dealt with things. Like, oh wow, I want to be like that. And so I decided I'm just going to write it down and send this to her. We are friends on Instagram, but not that much in contact. I'm like, no, I'm going to send this to her. And it felt a little bit awkward because you're not in not such a strong contact. But I think the next day or something, I received a message back where she was so grateful for this message and for hearing those words, and because also, as I mentioned, how that she is such a strong woman, and I admire this. And that's when she told me that this actually came at exactly the right time, as she had a low mood again, and she actually suffered of depression for a couple of years in her life, and she still has sometimes her swings, but she is able to manage them very well now, and she never wanted to share that earlier. Now she changed a bit and also want to share that people can relate to that, and things can change, and it's not a taboo topic. But I was absolutely not expecting this from her, because from the outside she seemed so strong and so confident, and so this was a huge surprise for me when she told me that. It's like, oh my goodness. And that my words made an impact on her day, or she said even the week, and she said, oh, I'm gonna print it out and put it in my diary. So this was for me a perfect example that you never know what the other person goes through actually, or in what mood you catch them in both ways. So it can be also the other way around, is if you start to blame someone or be angry at someone, you have no idea what this person is through, maybe, and that there are reasons for things or behaviors. But sharing this gratitude, appreciations actually can make also for people that are not that close in your life, but made an impact or are part of your life or are strangers, can make their day, can make a difference. And that's something very beautiful.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay, shall we summarize maybe? And what do you think? Shall we probably just name again our tools we've been through for our listeners to summarize that quickly?
Yes, we can. But I would suggest to throw in our own personal advertisement. So,
Right, here we go.
guys, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, follow us on Instagram, on Spotify, on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe on Instagram, on Spotify, and become a Patreon member of our Bliss Building community. Get some extra content, extra episodes, get our cheat sheets, our manuscripts, get like coaching sessions. Check out all the things we have on Patreon. And yeah, follow us, rate us 5 stars because it helps us.
So we can share the gratitude.
Yes, it helps us to continue doing that so we can make income from this and live the dream of getting paid to have beautiful conversations. So yeah, help us live the dream. It might make you feel better too. And rate us 5 stars on wherever you listen to us. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. You can find it's basically at Bliss Builders podcast.
Okay, got it.
In most things. All right, and now let's get to the tools. Would you like to name some favorite tools, or should I?
We can both do it. So what is in my mind? In my mind would be you can try to start writing things down when you're actually in a grateful mood instead of a low mood. So this helps you probably to remind those things, and then you can look back on them. Don't judge yourself if you're not able to keep up with something daily, for example. It can be also summarized. So let's say you have a few things you feel grateful for at the moment. Just write a few of them down, and when there is a week without anything, that's fine. If it's hard to stay consistent, but you will accumulate a list where you can come back to actually and have a look at that. What can also help for staying consistent can be kind of a habit tracker or a streak.
If you find something, let me know. Post it in the comments.
Streak app, or do it by yourself with a piece of paper on the fridge, wherever you want, where you challenge yourself and see how long you can continue. And there is no right or wrong with that. So for the next time you're gonna try it, you can try to beat your own record.
All right.
What else?
I'm gonna list the tools. So once more, the 7 things or 7 themes or topics you can be grateful for, which would be 1, grateful for what you have; 2, grateful for who you are; 3, grateful for the people in your life; 4, grateful for the lessons you've learned; 5, grateful for what has happened in your life; 6, grateful for what has not happened in your life; and 7, grateful for what hasn't happened yet. That is one tool. The other tool is gratitude letter. Write gratitude letters to people that you're grateful for, no matter if it's your family or the bus driver or the barista in your coffee shop. The next thing is write gratitude messages on the street walk with chalk. Write a gratitude journal, a diary if you can. If you're not consistent, don't worry about it. As Sandra said, just do it when you can, when you feel like it. I personally think that it also helps to do it when you're in a low mood, because it can literally remind you of things. And in the beginning, it's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit hard, but especially when you have our cheat sheet, which you will get.
We're gonna prevent with that one, guys.
You can, like, you have a few ideas on what to go on. And there's many more things, like leaving gratitude messages in your, like, little notes in your neighbors' post boxes. Yeah, there's a lot of tools, and if you look up gratitude, you will find probably millions of more gratitude ideas of how to get into the state of gratitude. We've mentioned a few, so that was
Remind
the summary.
yourself with that. You can have a reminder app like Kristina had. Maybe at some point you're going to start to ignore it like Kristina did. Then we recommend to listen to this episode again, and then again, and then again, and then again, and maybe then it stays in your mind.
Yeah, I feel like also another thing you can do is wherever you watch reels, no matter if it's Instagram reels, Facebook reels, X reels,
YouTube
TikTok,
shorts.
wherever you, yes, YouTube shorts, wherever you watch something, the more you appreciate, as in like, comment, or interact with certain content, the more you will get that shown. So if you look at a lot of things that you're grateful for and you appreciate it, and not just watch it, but like you save it, you like it, you comment it, the more you do that, the more your feed will be filled with things to be grateful for as well. And if you like a lot of the gratitude reminders, you will at some point have a feed that continuously reminds you to be grateful and gives you ideas of what to be grateful for about. So you can literally train your feed, and the same way you can train your algorithm, no matter if it's on Facebook, X, Twitter, X was Twitter, YouTube Shorts, yeah, Instagram, or whatever else you look at. The more you have constant reminders in your life, but the same way you can train those algorithms, you can also train your own subconscious mind algorithm. So keep that in mind, because the more you practice gratitude, the more things your mind focuses on that you can be grateful for, which I think is just a beautiful tool.
Keep that in mind, and also follow us on Instagram, because we of course share those things as well. So we're gonna remind you again and again and again and again.
And we would also be very grateful for it.
Exactly.
We highly appreciate it.
If you are not such a digital person, that is fine. Like my grandma will, for example, definitely not watch any YouTube shorts, TikTok, Instagrams, or whatever. This is not her style. But what you can do, you can print stuff out. You can actually print a list, for example, with some questions about what are you grateful for today, what are you excited about, and what do you manifest? For example, that's exercise we did in our household.
Get yourself a gratitude journal. There's gratitude journals on Amazon where the gratitude, like, ideas or journal questions are already in there. So you basically just have to fill it out. The questions are already there. It already gets you in the mindset. So you don't even have to do hard thinking, except for maybe about what you're grateful for. But if you literally look at gratitude journals, you will surely find, like, either empty ones if you prefer, or ones that already have journal prompts in there. So get yourself a gratitude journal.
So you have it in a physical way. And if you're more an auditive person, then get yourself a gratitude buddy. That can be in your household. Make it into a habit for dinner, for breakfast, whenever you come together, for example, that you practice those gratitude, and then you can also share it with other people, and you can listen to the things other people are grateful for. It can be in your household, like we said, or if you have your loved ones a bit further away, you can just text each other, make it into a going to sleep ritual, for example, or a morning ritual, where, I mean, every one of us would be grateful for, I reckon, if you wake up to a beautiful message, what a beautiful day it is, or whatever the other person is grateful for, and you just reply to that and exchange this with your body.
All right.
Gratitude, buddy.
I'm very grateful for this beautiful episode. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening. I'm also grateful for you because without you, we couldn't do that.
And I think we have a mission with some chalk paint.
Oh yeah, we do.
Sweet.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.